TFR Network, CFR Sports. Good day, good night, all. UFC 280 in the books. Oliveira, Makhachev. I got a special guest with me to unpack this thing. Welcome to the broadcast, Manny. What's happening?
I'm good. I'm just excited off a good night of fights yesterday.
We've been spoiled, kind of. We've been kind of spoiled with the amount of combat sports we've had this weekend. It's been absolutely jammed.
Yeah, 100%. And with one always brings that special thing with MMA, like it's because it's got the Muay Thai and the submission grappling as well, and then the big UFC card. It's been good.
Yeah. I think we were definitely spoiled this weekend. Definitely spoiled this weekend. And obviously the weekend didn't go without any kind of potential controversies and lots of weight misses within one. But UFC wasn't too bad. Main card was excellent, I would say, in comparison to the prelims and stuff. Very much decisions. But overall, I mean, what would you rate this card, Manny? Out of 10?
Out of 10, top to bottom, I'd say it's let me just look at the card. As in top to bottom, as in including the prelims.
Yeah, include the prelims as well. Let's be fair.
I'd say it's a solid 7, maybe 8.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say let it down was the where the prelims, just so many decisions on the prelims. But outside of that, if there were less decisions on the prelims, probably would have been a 10.
I'll tell you what was a good back and forth, prelim wise, was Volkan, Ozdemir, No Time, Nikita.
Yeah, Nikita Krylov. Yeah, it's always a good fight. That's another fight. If I'm giving betting advice, I'm saying stay away from any fight with Ozdemir, because he's such a good fighter. But then, like you said, it's so much of a back and forth. It's very hard to confidently pick any fight that he's in.
Yeah, I think he did very well the first round, even potentially the second round. He just accepted being on his back and closed his guard. I was like, and even his coaches were like, "What are you doing? Open it up, man. You ain't gonna win on your back. Come on."
Yeah, that's it. It's a tough one. It's a tough one because that crowd. This is why I was saying, like, before we jumped on, I was saying like I was surprised at the amount of decisions on the prelims, because just that crowd, like the whole hype around the card, like you usually get guys just coming out to, really make an impression, just being on the undercard and stuff. But yeah, these things can happen.
Anything can happen in this wonderful sport we call mixed martial arts.
Yeah, exactly. One person I was impressed with, the Bilal Muhammad, like topping off that preliminary card. He came in, showed up really. Some. When I'm talking about decisions, probably the decision king, but he came in really put on a show against someone who's really, really high touted prospect. So yeah, that was probably the start of I'd say probably start of the show in terms of just the task that we had ahead of them and what it means for them going ahead. I'd say the start of the show, Bilal Muhammad there, definitely.
Yeah, agreed. He's kind of in a bit of no man's land now of sorts. I mean, he's on a winning streak. He had obviously that run-in with Leon, which ended unfortunately. I mean, outside of that, Leon was handedly, in my humble opinion, was winning that fight. I don't see what Muhammad was going to do to turn it around, but we don't know, because there was unfortunately that nasty eye poke unintentionally.
It didn't go on, so we don't know. I think, he is in kind of a no man's land, because they've announced March for the rematch.
Yep.
And then depending on how that rematch goes, maybe Usman could win it in a close decision. Maybe, I don't know, it could be controversial again. So if he wants to wait, he could be waiting 2 years or so for an unguaranteed title shot, or he's got to go and take a big matchup. So yeah, I think he's in a good position though. He's got time. I think all he has to do now is just talk a little bit more, and he should be able to push himself into that solid number one contender spot or title fight spot.
I think he's got at least, just based upon how the UFC are doing things, unless the landscape totally changes, I see at least another 2 fights before he gets a shot.
Would you say so? 2 fights?
Yeah, I'm going to. Because they're not really giving him many favors of sorts.
Let me see who's in the top 10 welterweight rankings. Because I'd say if he just comes out and talks a little bit more, I'd say he's like, it's one fight, or maybe his next fight is a title shot. Let me see.
But that's, yeah, if he waits it out, he could potentially, and with this UFC game, it's so up in the air. Like, I don't like people who wait. I like people who are hungry and go out there and do the thing and, are hungry to fight, kind of like Beneil Dariush.
Yeah. Yeah, that's someone who's put himself. That fight, I was watching that fight, I weren't too convinced he won that fight also, but he did win the fight. But when I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's a bit closer than it should have been, really. But it was a really good fight. It was a really good fight. He came through the test, and that's the rightful next contender, really, isn't it, for the lightweight title?
If we go on meritocracy, then yeah, most definitely. I mean, but unanimous? Was it? It was unanimous, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah, unanimous decision. I thought it was much closer than that.
Me too.
A split would have been acceptable, but no, it's all about what the judges outside the cage say, isn't it? So
yeah, this is it. This is what's that old phrase? Don't leave it in the judge's hands.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I mean, like, you've got no option. The higher and higher you step up competition-wise, you are bound at some point to go to a decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. That's it. You do say, don't leave it in the hands of the judges, but you try not to leave it in the hands of the judges. You make mistakes, you could lose the fight and stuff. It's a tough position you're putting anyone in by saying that.
100%, 100%. So what, Beneil's 5 at the moment. We got Gilbert Burns, who's already had a title shot. You got Colby, who's had 2 title shots.
Hold on, what? We're talking lightweight here?
Yeah. I've jumped straight back to what you call it? To
Welter.
Mohammed. Yeah, to Mohammed.
Okay, yeah. They're making. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it won't be really too smart for them to wait for the title shot. Because they've announced Chimaev and Covington are going to be fighting. So, and then they've got the rematch of Usman Edwards. So, depending on that, that's 2 potential title fights that are going to have to happen before Muhammad gets a shot. So, yeah, I'd say one more fight, I'd say, but it could be 2.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, I mean, Bilal and Gilbert, that's the same management, right? That's Alliance, isn't it? Ali Abdiaziz, yeah. So that's going to be tricky in regards to getting that sorted. I guess to a point. Generally they don't fight each other. Jeff Neal, but he's behind him. As you say, Colby and Hamza are already sort of lined up.
Yeah, it's one. I say it's one fight. It's either the fallout. It's the fallout of it's either Burns or the fallout of the rematch or the fallout of Chimaev Covington, and that one fight that puts him right into title contention. The only thing that throws a spanner in the works really is Usman winning a close decision to where they want to do the trilogy, or something controversial happening in one of those fights, in one of those title fights.
It's tricky. It's really tricky. It definitely is tricky. And even as we was talking earlier, the lightweight division with Beneil.
I wouldn't say that's too much of a. I think he made a mistake. I heard what he said after the fight. He went and said on Mike, I'm ready to take on whoever after. As in, he said, I'm not. If they don't give me a title shot, I'm not too bothered. I think he could have just spoke himself into a title shot at that time. They're saying they want to give Volkanovski the title fight against
Yeah,
Makhachev.
yeah.
I think directly after that, you could go and get the title shot. But yeah, just him saying, "Oh, I'm all right with it not being a title shot my next shot." I think that automatically has put him in for the winner of Poirier Chandler, or it's put him in the position where he's not have to fight one or two more times before he gets the title shot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Probably once, probably once.
Yeah. He didn't do himself much favors at all. I mean, obviously he's very, reserved in regards to like calling people out in that respect or like making a show of it. And that's cool. But as you say, like this is your opportunity to put in a microphone in front of your face. Like the Jesus stuff, that's all cool. Maybe not appropriate, but that's his character. But to not say, look, I've beat how many people now? I beat Al Kakui before he officially kind of went on that decline thing. Like I've been beating people. When am I going to get my shot? Who do I need to fight next?
Yeah, that's it. He should have. Yeah, he should have. He's rightfully in the spot for it. But I think these guys. I think these, especially with lightweight, everyone's active enough to where he thinks it's just going to be a matter of time. I think it will just be a matter of time for him.
The waiting game, the good old-fashioned
Yeah,
waiting game.
yeah.
Okay. And anything else stuck out to you on the prelims, or even before we get to the three latter fights?
Anything else on the prelims? Yeah, definitely
Makhachev.
Muhammad. Yeah, Muhammad Makhachev. He came and got the finish at the very end of the third. Yeah, a great performance. Really. I can't really fault his performance there. Let me just look at the flyweight rankings. I think it's really a win that puts him into that, top 10. Not even top 10, maybe like top 7 conversation really. Yeah, he wants to fight Bantamweight next. That's the fight that he's really, really wanted. I think, yeah, it's pushed him into that top 10. Yeah, breakout performance, pushed him into the top 10. It's all big household names from now on. So yeah, great performance.
I think what he's to progress his career any more forward, which it's easily done. He's got the cardio, he's got the grappling, the wrestling. We need some ground and pound. We're getting a lot of control. We got a lot of the transitions it's all cool, it's nice, and he's winning, but we need some damage. When we start to get to that higher echelon of fighter, they're not going to accept those positions.
Yeah. I think flyweight's always a tough one because they are so well rounded in those positions. Yeah, more damage. But I think flyweight's one of those divisions where if you've got a control heavy game and it's good enough,
Yeah.
It's not too big of a factor. It's not too big of a factor if you're not, really putting them hands on people on the floor like Khabib or something.
Indeed.
I think it's easy. I think he's doing well.
Yeah. And I will say Malcolm X Gordon, he was very surprising in that second round, didn't he? Didn't he go for some submission? Submission attempt?
Yeah, he's on. Yeah, he did. That's his game. That's why everyone, like all the experts, not going into the fight, they were saying it kind of plays into what we're seeing. We'll see how good Muhammad Makhayev's grappling is because he's a very strong black belt, Malcolm Gordon, and he will accept those back positions. He will throw submissions. So it's a good test to see where he's at in terms of grappling, decision making, those type of things. And I think he passed the test. It's flying colours, really.
100%. If you could be the matchmaker, who would Makhachev? Who should he go for next? Should he jump
he wanted Royval. Royval
that's his number 2 though, Manny.
No, but actually, Royval. Royval's at number 6 right now, I think.
Is he
Is he at number
6?
6? I might look at yeah. He's at number 6 right now. But he's booked to fight someone who's number 4. Yeah, in October, in November, in October. Wait there, let
Oh
me
yeah,
see.
sorry, yeah. No, he's 5. Brandon Royval's 5. He's 5. I've got him 5 on the UFC rankings, official rankings at least.
Yeah. I think that's a good fight, but he's booked to fight someone. Maybe maybe a Cody Garbrandt if that's what if Garbrandt.
Oh, don't you think that's easy money? No disrespect to Cody. His chin's gone.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's another breakout performance for him. He's had the breakout performance yesterday in terms
Mm,
of getting into that top 15, top 10 type of conversation. And if he goes and finishes or just wins against Cody Garbrandt, that's household name. So
yeah.
any of these top flyweights, Cara France, Royval, any of these, even Figueiredo, any of these guys, like he's in that conversation with. So I'd say Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a nice one, that is. That's a nice little
Because
that's a nice mix up.
everyone else really is booked to fight. Well, even Cara France, Cara France isn't booked to fight right now. And there's a Brazilian guy, I haven't Pantoja. He's number
Pantoja, Alexandre.
yeah, even someone like that. But that's to me, I'm not too familiar with him. But yeah, any of these top 10 guys, I think he's ready to take on that test. I'd prefer him to go against the big name, maybe a Garbrandt in England when they bring the welterweight fight to a
That
stadium.
yeah, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. And I think Cody would go for that because it's going to be a big card. It would be obviously be a pay-per-view as well. Potentially a stadium event if they can do it in the right weather conditions, etc.
Yeah,
Well, saying that, doesn't one of the stadiums we got down in London have a retractable roof?
I think that's Wembley though. I think Wembley's like the
Wembley.
biggest stadium.
Okay.
I'm not. Maybe they'll do it. Maybe they'll do that.
But the right marketing
Maybe.
behind it.
Yeah, maybe. I think what it is they're waiting to see. I think that Paddy's fighting in early December. I think they're waiting to see with that. I think they'll do a smaller stadium
Yeah.
if Paddy doesn't win. But if Paddy and Molly win, I think they'll go for the big stadium, the Wembley one. So yeah.
Interesting landscape, man. Interesting landscape. And European fighters, UK fighters are definitely putting a nice little stamp and making some nice little noise in multiple weight classes currently.
Yeah, just creating that movement and it's creating that movement. It's having a couple fighters all making noise at one time. It helps so much, doesn't it? Instead of just one guy,
Yeah,
one guy just excelling.
100%. It gives that boost for not only the athletes who are trying to get to the highest echelons or at a amateur level, but the people who are just getting into like combat sports and getting themselves healthy and protecting themselves and all that kind of stuff. It just gives you that extra. Oh shit, that's just the next town, man. He's from there. He's
Yeah,
from Brum. He's from Manchester. He's from Liverpool. Okay.
yeah, it builds such a scene. Like I spent like a week in Dublin training maybe 2 weeks ago, and just that effect of Conor McGregor of what he's done
Yeah, yeah.
in the gym. In the gym, I was just seeing all these European guys from Latvia, Italy, France, just got moving over there to train, and it's just made such an atmosphere in that gym. Even the taxi driver, I'm sitting in the car with the taxi driver as well. Oh, is this Coach Cavernous gym? Like it just creates a whole. It
Yes.
goes mainstream, and then it creates a strong like hardcore scene, and then like there's the average person on the street has a bit more of an idea of MMA or of the people involved in MMA in their country, city, town, wherever.
This is it. This is it. And then, pardon self, it then moves away from, oh, do you do the UFC stuff rather than, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I got a guy, from my city and he's making some noise in the mixed martial arts scene kind of thing. Have you heard of him?
yeah, 100%.
The wonders, man, the wonders. Bantamweight, the controversial one. Um, split decision. O'Malley got the victory over Piotr Jan, #1 ranked.
Mhm.
Oh,
I went at the time of watching it. I weren't happy with the decision. I just thought Jan has clearly won the fight, but I've got to catch myself and I've got to remember it's scored round by round. This game is scored round by round. It's got to score each round individually. And watching it back, I would say a split decision isn't the worst thing in the world. It isn't.
yeah.
It's not a complete robbery, but it was shady. But the thing is that you got to remember is these people who are judging these fights. These are human. These are humans, and
Yeah.
they're in the arena and they're right next to the fights. Anyone who's actually been to an MMA show in person will tell you, like, in person it looks a lot different to how it does on the TV.
Yes, indeed.
And then how close you are also. If someone's right on the cage like that and they're judging the fight, it looks a lot different. And then another thing you've got to take into account is the narratives that are going into these fights. The narrative of, oh my God, he's going to get killed. Like, it's number 11 versus number 1. He's going to get killed. He's going to get killed. And if he doesn't get killed, if he makes it throughout the whole 3 rounds, he's got that moral victory anyway. So it's that thing. It affects what people think of the fight. If I'm seeing someone who's meant to get killed, like, be somewhat competitive and make it through the fight, I'm like, okay, like, so I might judge it a little different. So I wouldn't say the split decision is a terrible decision. I thought Peter Yan won the fight, but I wouldn't say it's a terrible decision. It's that thing. It comes back to that thing of you shouldn't let it go to the judges, but sometimes that's just inevitable, isn't it?
100%. So I mean, he's 11 taking on the #1 ranked Peter Yan, massive underdog. I did the recap, the preview, and was saying pretty much the same. Like, I mean, Sean, it was a win-win for Sean. It was a win/lose for Peter or Piotr, because as everyone was saying, he was supposed to, in essence, destroy Sean O'Malley. I mean, I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, he's going to do it in the first round, or I wasn't thinking that unless he really pulled something out the bag, kind of thing. I thought it would have been a pretty dominant victory on Piotr's side. But after that first round, I was thinking, okay, Sean's, he's doing what I expected him to do. He's used his length, stay active, lateral movement, etc., etc. His takedown defense was very good, very good.
Yeah, it was there. It was there, but I don't know, how would you score it? Would you say you won the first round?
I'd have to watch it back again. I only watched. I didn't watch that fight twice. I've only watched it once. I don't know. It was after I watched the first round, I was mentally trying to unpack it and think, well, who actually won that? Was that O'Malley or was it a Piotr? I was more leaning to Piotr, but again, I'd have to watch it for the second time to be definitive with that.
Okay. That's the thing. I would say he won. I would say O'Malley lost the first round, but looking at it back, it's a toss up. It's close, and that's what the judges thought as well. 2 of the judges said it was an O'Malley round. 1 of the judges says it was a Yan round. So close.
Yes. But big question is now, like, what happens with the Sugar Show?
I think he challenges for the title next. There's no clear contender for the title. It's no clear contender for the title. Aljamain dealt with TJ pretty decisively. So there's no clear cut contender right now unless Cejudo wants to come back, and I don't think he's really raving to come back just yet. So I'd say, yeah, it's money. It's a big money fight for Aljamain. It's a huge fight for the UFC. I think he'll get the title. I think he'll get the title shot next.
Do you not, outside of what you just unpacked there, do you not think Mr. Vera is deserving sort of a who's obviously beaten Mr. O'Malley?
But I think that's it's nice. That's where it's nice right now for the UFC because they can go and make this fight. They can go and make this Aljamain O'Malley fight, and then look to make the Marlon Vera fight. Because
Yeah.
it's just a toss up. Even if you look at the rankings now, it's just a toss up between them two. It's a toss up between them two. Who do you give the title fight to next? It's probably a better risk to take to go and let O'Malley fight for the title.
Yeah, because he's
And
a
then
proven brand.
yeah, and then if he wins, it's the O'Malley versus the guy who his only loss was to. And there's beef there, isn't like the last fight. Oh, I never lost the fight. You kicked me somewhere that I've never been. You know, it's that thing. It's a good build up to the fight.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a good risk for them to take to have O'Malley go and fight Sterling. And there's no, like I said before, there's no clear cut contender, so it's quite open. So, and I don't think Aljamain's going to turn down a big fight like O'Malley with a lot of attention, a lot of media and stuff. So, yeah, it's a good position.
Yeah.
Exciting division right now.
It really is, man. It really is an exciting division. Pardon self, so Marlon Vera. I wouldn't mind after. I mean, you know, let's put the Wizards hat on. So after Aljo dispatches of Sean potentially, it should be in essence Marlon Vera next.
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind Aljamain having Dominic Cruz on his win record.
As in him still being the champion.
Yeah.
I don't know how much interest that would really garner, just because of how Cruz just lost his last fight. I don't know how much interest that would really garner.
How good was he doing before that vicious KO?
Yeah, he was doing. Yeah, he was doing well. He looked very good, but it's
and that's still. But as you know, as a fighter, he zigged when he should have zagged. It's as simple as that. It wasn't a case of like he got overwhelmed, bang, 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 bang. Yeah, the dance is done. And that's the beauty of combat sports. If you one split decision error that you make, that's the fight done.
Yeah, but yeah, it could be, but I don't see the UFC really wanting to get behind Cruz like that in that sense of like giving him such a gift in the sense of coming off a loss.
Wishful thinking on Aljo's part.
Yeah, I think it's nice though. It's nice the way it's worked out. I think they've got a set two contenders there. They've got O'Malley and Vera, the next two contenders. I think they'll be the next two people to fight for the title.
Definitely. And I think after that, I mean, Marab, who's number 3, at that point, after he's defended for another 2 times, potentially, he needs to then move up so then Marab can then do his thing and try and, capture that bantamweight title.
Yeah, and I think that whole dynamic as well. That whole dynamic is like it's perfect for that team also because with this sport, like I don't think it's very rare for someone to have like a long title reign. So having 2 set opponents like that before you can even consider talking about Marab versus whoever the champion is.
Yeah.
It gives a chance for Aljamain to lose the title and then not have to deal with that whole thing of I'm going to move up because I don't want to fight my teammate.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think that's a good it's a good dynamic. Bantamweight's probably the hottest division right now.
Do you see with that O'Malley and Sterling matchup? How do you see that playing out? Do you see O'Malley winning that?
It's the thing. The thing is with people who are strikers like that, it's always a somewhat of a toss up, like because we've seen that Yan could go in and take him down. And impose the grappling a little bit.
Yeah.
So you'd say logically like that's an easy route to victory for Aljamain. Yes. But then we seen like there were certain moments where O'Malley just turns it on and just being so sharp, being so fast and stuff. We've seen Aljamain get knocked out before by someone who's very, very sharp, very fast, very powerful. So it's that's what I mean. It's a good fight to where like it's a toss up still. It's a toss up still. O'Malley has a good chance of winning that fight, and then it builds to that versus Vera fight to where that's a big marquee fight. It's a big first test for a new champion in O'Malley, or it could just be an easy route to victory for Sterling. And then Sterling makes that does that thing of like the victory lap of trying to go through the division again, because the older names he's beaten, like the older, more established names he's beaten, you know, Dillashaw, Yan, but then these newer names that are coming through.
Munoz, he beat Munoz as well, didn't he?
Yeah, and then you've got these newer names that are coming through: O'Malley, Vera, Marab, potentially Sandhagen. Like you've got these guys coming through to where like you can, you know, do like a GSP type of thing
and create some, you know, some real room in regards to the amount of the defenses. Look, unfortunately, I don't know, lack of marketing. I would say some of his microphone talk it is kind of cringy, but that he's leaning into it. I'm totally aware of. He's not, as they say in the wrestling terms, he's not getting put over enough. Like he won.
You know what? I've got a certain stance on that. Like I think black fighters have a lot harder, unless you know, going through doing, you know, Anderson Silva, or, you know, unless you're really knocking people out like that, or being super exciting like that, like Izzy and Anderson, I think it's always a lot harder for black fighters to get put over in that sense. It's just, I don't think it's anything to do with like lack of marketing or anything like that. It's just harder generally for black fighters to get put over like that.
But okay, and I know that, you know that. What can be done to change this? Because this
he needs to go on a streak, like I said, he needs to go on a streak, like going on that victory lap type of performance tour where he's just not running through opponents, but just maybe winning the decision for every one of his title fights, getting 2, 3, 4 more title defenses. I think that's the way he's going to do it.
The actions are going to speak louder than the words, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's all over Twitter, which Twitter, as you know, is very toxic, but I do have to use that platform. People are talking the crazy stuff about the champ. Oh, he got it from a DQ, the first per. Well, he didn't ask to be DQ, did he? It's like, give the guy a break. Oh, he was acting, this and that. He comes back and has a tremendous performance and beats him. Oh, but he didn't beat him. Yan actually won, this and that. Now he's beating TJ. Oh, but he beat him and he had one arm and this and that. It's like, what does he do to say, oh, wait a minute, time out, ref. I think my opponent's dislocated his arm. Do you want to like check him first before we continue? Or like, what do we do?
It's the thing of if you're not a certain way, in just in general, and then you're not super exciting and knocking people out and stuff, you do have that harder route of you've got to really, really go and prove yourself. You've got to really, really, you know, put these win streaks together and stuff. It's just sometimes that's just a tough card that you dealt.
Yeah. And okay, so you're a fighter. What on earth was TJ doing? Now, I'll qualify my straight question with, I understand that fighters are not going to go into fights 100% healthy, but to be injured with a shoulder injury, which is from April, and you're saying it's dislocating like willy-nilly kind of thing. Why is he clearly it's money and the legacy and the chance to win the strap. I get that. But if your shoulder's dislocating, why are you fighting, number one? Number two, how is the Athletic Commission allowing this? How is the UFC not all in his business? Like, wait a minute, you're a former drug cheat. I know you're trying to change things and blah blah blah. That's the past, but we want to be really scrupulous and not scrupulous, but we want to be what's the word with oh man, I'm losing it. We want to really scrutinize, that's the words. Everything that you're doing. We want to make sure that you're healthy and
It's,
you're fit.
no, I don't think the UFC is a business. I don't think the UFC really does that to people where they go above and beyond in that sense. I think they do. They speak to the commission. The commission do whatever medicals and whatever medical sign-offs that are needed, and then I don't think they're really going above and beyond and doing extra stuff to make sure he's okay or not cheating or anything like that. Just going in injured. There's so many injuries you can have, like, and there's so many ways you can. He's fought in the UFC more than 10 times. Like this,
Yeah.
the drill with these with a lot of these different medical checkups and medical clearances. You know the drill. You know how to hide certain things if you
Yeah.
really need to hide it and stuff. The story Bisping fought with being blind for how many fights? Like you start to know the drill and there's things you can hide, and that's just the way
Yes.
it is. Like if he needs to get paid and he needs this fight to get paid, like he'll know how to hide whatever he needs to hide.
Good points. Very good points. I mean, you've raised an excellent point. Bisping is the poster child for this, unfortunately. It's okay. Let's look at the other side of it then. So, as per the post-fight speech, he apologized for holding up the division and stuff. He clearly felt guilty, because someone else, maybe even on that card, maybe Piotr could have jumped in and challenged for the third time. Maybe Sean could have. Maybe just somebody on just whoever could have had the opportunity, and TJ could have said, you know what, I'm injured. Give me another 6 months or so, and trustfully, like, I can come back and challenge whoever the champion is.
Um, yeah. It's. I think because with this title thing, with the way it works, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it's once you're on the championship like contract or whatever it is, it becomes a whole different game to where, like, even if you're a massive star, if you're on like co-main events or non-title fights, it just becomes a whole different game in terms of media, back end payments, all that type of stuff.
Mm,
So it's one of them. If you're able to jump in, you may as well jump in. I think that's kind of the thinking that he's put behind it. Is just, yeah, like, what's the point in me going back onto a co-main event or going to
yeah.
a main card spot when I can take my chances? Like, I know I can hang with these type of guys. I've been champion before, so
Yes.
it's, yeah. I think that's where it is. Really, his
Mm.
mindset is really behind it.
The decision, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Selfish, but mixed martial arts, combat sports, it isn't a team sport. It's you have to be selfish. You've got to feed your family. You've got to create legacies. You've got to, aim, grasp for those dreams, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Without that shoulder injury, I think it would have been pretty much the same. Aljo looked quite a lot bigger physically in comparison to TJ. There was a little bit of speed advantage, I would say, with TJ. A little bit, but not major.
Mm-hmm.
If he was healthy, I think that may have went to maybe 4 rounds at the very most, and we would have potentially had seen the same kind of thing. He was getting mollywopped.
Yeah, yeah, he was. And I think as well, he's one of them guys. He's not too used to that. He's not really used to someone else coming out and being really dominant against him. So he's not so used to adjusting on the fly. Like someone like compared to like someone like Oliveira or someone who's Ferguson, someone who's been in tough
Yeah.
positions in fights before. Um, yeah, it was a tough night for him. It was a very tough night for him.
I do feel awfully sorry for him. Um, because I do rate him as a champion. As we all know, there is a huge cloud which is unfortunately still lingering over his head because of the decision he made. But outside of that, if we compartmentalize the cheating element of it and just look at him as a fighter and what he did, like getting those belts twice, he's a good fighter, man. He's a real good fighter.
Yeah, yeah, very good fighter, very good. I think the motivation kind of goes as well. I think the motivation kind of goes when you hit that level, and then you've got to go and work your way back up. Everything. I'm not sure if the motivation, like the same level of motivation on the way up, is there to go and build back up. But yeah, I think it's all on if he wants to do it. If he wants to go and build back up and get to that part of the division again, he'll be able to.
Pardon self, he heals up 8 months down the line. Draw the roadmap to his return to the title? Two fights, is it?
I think it depends. I think he waits it out a lot longer. I think with there's two set contenders coming in now, with O'Malley and Vera. The whole landscape of the division can change so much in that time. I think he waits it out, gets really healthy, and either one takes one fight against someone who at the time will be number 2 or number 3, or he takes a fight that's against someone who's like number 6, or he goes and takes 2 fights to the title, which is against someone who's like number 6, number 7, and then a number 1 or number 2. To the title.
The only issue with that, which is very well strategized, is that all of this time he's been off with injuries and stuff. This is less time for him to perfect his craft and his arts. Whereas Aljo's putting in work, he's fighting at least once, twice a year and stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. With the time, I even looked at I was looking at the tail of the tape, and I didn't even realize he's 36. Like he's taken for a bantamweight that's fairly old, and for a bantamweight who hasn't who's part of that the reason why he's so old, because he's been through a suspension.
Yeah.
Even when I first heard of that suspension, I was thinking, oh, it's a bit of a tough one, because a 2 year, what was it, like a 1 year or 2 year suspension?
No, 2 year suspension,
2 year. It's a lot of time, especially at the age he was at. But and it depends. Was he really cheating? Was he not cheating? Like, because the cheating can have an effect on your actual body and stuff. So you just never know. You never know.
It's he dared to be great, and unfortunately the temptation was there. Again, it's the same kind of thing. The reason he took the EPO was because he couldn't get through the workouts and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, he might. That's the thing. He might be looking at the end of the road within the next 1-2 years. So maybe he does come back and just takes the biggest fight he can possibly get, and then he has 1 or 2 more, and then he's done.
100%. We will see how that one unfolds. Moving straight to the main event of the evening, the Bronx, who I put money on. I will say I put money on Aljo. I will say, and I also put money on Sean O'Malley. So 2 out of 3 wasn't bad. Charles, it definitely wasn't Charles' night. It was not Charles's night or his fight. I liked his initial flying attack, reminiscent of Fabricio Verdum. I love it. I absolutely love it. Congratulations to Islam Makhachev. As they're all saying, father's plan was enacted. He looked real good, man. There's nothing I can say. It was in essence almost a flawless victory. Like, wouldn't mind seeing it again. I think it would be a little different potentially. but I definitely wouldn't mind seeing that run back again.
No, I don't think. I think it was pretty decisive in terms of Oliveira won. Like I mean, Oliveira got beat. It was yeah, it was a good fight. I think Oliveira came to push the pace. That's how he's won his last 3 or 4 fights.
Yeah.
He's pushed the pace and he's made it a real fight. Like he's made it high stakes, high intensity, and made it a real fight. That's what he's tried to do against Islam, and he was having success. He made the big high pace back and forth fight, but he got caught at the end. Got caught at the end. Islam just gave everything back as well as he got it, and then he got caught at the end. He went for the flying knee, came with the left, right hook even, and then and then took the submission as soon as he hit the deck. So I wouldn't really want to see it again straight away. It's because it was just a pretty decisive fight. I think
Even
maybe
though, Manny, even though Charles, I know he wasn't the champ technically, but even though what he did in the last 4 of his fights, pre him getting stripped to the title, doesn't he kind of deserve, like, here you go. You've done a lot for the UFC. Like, let's run it back. We're not gonna run it back straight away because we've got a big money fight that we're gonna make. But we're gonna give you an opportunity.
um I don't know. I'm not in the UFC. I don't know that like what because there's certain like metrics and stuff that you look at to
Yeah,
determine them things. I
yeah.
think they could do that if his numbers are big enough and stuff. But there's other fights that are really entertaining to make. The fight against Gaethje, fight against Poirier, like these are big name fights still.
Oh,
I think.
okay. Many. Gaethje won and the Poirier one. If and
Oh,
obviously
so yeah,
it's
he's sorry. Yeah, he's already fought them guys, hasn't he? So yeah, maybe. But I just
yeah.
don't think. I don't think. I don't think they give it to him straight away. I think it's more interesting for them to go and make a Volkanovski fight.
Yeah, which makes sense. It's a big money fight, and I think there's a lot of stakes on there, pound for pound status as well. Him moving
Mm-hmm.
up. Um, it's interesting. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I think Charles needs to sit on the sidelines for a bit. He's still number one in essence, so we can see how that plays out. But let's say that Islam, and I think he's got more of a chance of winning rather than losing against Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski's still got a very good chance of potentially winning. I don't see it, however. Um,
Yeah, I
outside,
think it's. I think it's. I think it's closer than you think. It's a very different fight to what we seen yesterday. I think it's a very different fight. I don't think
yeah.
the pace the pace doesn't get pushed that hard that early, nowhere near that hard that early. In a fight between those two, and I think it's more of a technical. It's more of a technical battle, like a technical battle over like the longer 4 or 5 rounds.
You reckon it's gonna be more of a stand-up kickboxing fight, or you don't think Islam's gonna try and take him down?
No, no, I think they're going to mix it up a lot. I think they're going to mix it up a lot, but I think it's going to
Okay.
be a lot slower pace of a fight. I don't think it's going to be the way Oliveira
Yes.
just tried to take it to him yesterday. I don't think it's going to be. We're going to see that now.
Mm.
Not at all.
It's a very interesting and fun landscape that we've got: lightweight division, featherweight division, bantamweight division.
Yeah,
Uh, we're cooking on some real high temperatures at the moment.
yeah. I just hope they get these fights through quickly. Like even even the welterweight fights, even the welterweight championship fight. Even it's great coming to the UK in March and stuff. It's great, but it's just it holds up the division a little bit, doesn't it? But
Yeah,
yeah, hopefully we just see all these fights play through, and sometime next year we're seeing like some fresh blood coming out and challenging for the top for the titles.
okay.
But I
So
think I think Volkanovski gets the title fight next. I know the Australian like Oceania Pacific Island market It's meant to be really good. It's meant to be really lucrative. It's meant to be really, really lucrative for fight sports and stuff. They just had Kambosos Haney 2 over there, and I think they say like the pay-per-view market there is really good. So I think it's a given that title is going to be next. I don't know if it's going to be this year. Hopefully, it's going to be this year because it was only a 2-round fight
December.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it was December. I'm sure I'm sure Perth is December, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, and it's hot over there at that time. So
yeah,
and it weren't really too much of a war for Makhachev yesterday. So I think they'll go and make that fight. I think they'll go and make that fight. There's no one else really that holds a really strong claim to that next lightweight title fight. So I think that's what we'll see next.
Yeah. The only issue is with that, obviously with the featherweight division, that's going to be all tied up now then.
It will be tied. It will be tied up, but let me look at the.
You got Max, who's number 2. You've got Yair number 3. You've got Brian Ortega. Sorry, Max number 1, 2 Yair, 3 Brian, Josh Emmett number 4.
Yeah, I think that can wait. I think that can wait till next year. I think that can wait till early next year for someone to go and challenge for that belt. Volkanovski's sitting there saying, "I want to be very active."
Active, yeah.
If he goes in and loses against Makhachev next year, he's got a steady 2 or 3 contenders ready to challenge for the title. So I don't think it doesn't hold up the division that much. I think it's
what if he wins? What if he wins though?
Yeah, if he wins, it kind of messes up the title picture. If he wins, yeah, it really messes up the title picture in both divisions. But I think we'll see. We'll see. I think if he wins, maybe he does 2 defenses. One defense on one division, one defense on another, and then we'll see. We'll see, because we've not seen anyone really do that. We've not seen anyone jump between the 2 divisions and maintain the title. So we'll see.
Not within the modern era of the UFC. Not at all. That would be true championship material. Forget the triple C business and all of that stuff. You get 2 belts, defend them in a major promotion, you get some extra brownie points and stars on the top of the fridge after that shit.
Yeah. But even though he says he wants to be active and stuff, I don't really see him, if he does win it, I don't really see him doing that, fighting maybe 3 times a year between the 2 divisions. I don't really see him do that, because your star power just goes through the roof once you do something like that. Like, say if he wins against Islam, your star power really goes through the roof. So where maybe he's just gonna go and relinquish the belt, relinquish the lower belt as soon as he wins the lightweight belt, and just become more of a.
Why though? What would be the motivation? Just because he wouldn't be cutting that extra 10 pounds maybe or something? What would be the motivation to drop that?
It's because you've already got the title. It's similar with what Conor McGregor done. You got both titles, and it was like, I've already got the title and the star power. For me to go and risk fighting somebody, going between the 2 divisions and stuff, it's a bit too. Maybe I'll just give up this lower belt, and then I've got the lightweight belt, and I'll challenge someone once, maybe twice a year there.
Yeah, I can kind of get it. It's to me, just from the competitive standpoint, I would want to at least defend that first featherweight, because remember, he didn't defend any of the belts, Mr. McGregor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't.
That's a must. You defend the featherweight. You've just caught the lightweight. Okay, I'm going to defend that one. I'll defend the lightweight. Okay, now it's a toss up.
But that's the thing. The reason he didn't defend the belt is because he went mainstream. I think Volkanovski goes and wins that belt in December. You become a super mainstream star essentially, and then it's like, is it worth me going to fight Yair Rodriguez, risking getting knocked out like that, and then he's not a mainstream star like that. It's like, you lose that double champ status quickly.
Yeah.
I see
from both sides.
we'll see.
Yeah.
He's saying he wants to go and have both belts and defend them often, but I just don't reckon he'll do that if he goes and wins both belts.
Only time will reveal. Only time will
Yeah.
reveal. Yes. So
100%.
did we give the card? We gave the card at the start a number, didn't we? We rated it, didn't we?
Yeah, I'd say let's split it, main and prelims. I'd say prelims, we'd give prelims a good 6.
Yeah.
6.5 really. I think Bilal topping off
Save the day.
prelims. It solidified himself, and then actually saved the prelims because it's a good storyline coming out the prelims. Like he's just got what could be like in the United Arab Emirates, like the whole Islam thing, the whole Muslim thing. It's like a thing over there, and then we've got the main card. I'd say the main card easily give it a 9.5. Yeah, a lot of good changes happened. So a lot of storylines going into the next set of fights, the set of title fights as well for bantamweight and lightweight.
I like the way you've done that. In that respect, I'm going to agree with you. Storyline wise, 9.5. 100%. Fight wise, I would drop it down to an 8. The best fights for me were the last 3 fights.
Yeah, the last 3 and then the first 2 weren't amazing, but they were still good fights.
Yes, agreed. And to be fair, I do need to watch that Caitlyn fight again. I was distracted doing notes and stuff whilst trying to busily watch that. So I'm gonna definitely get back and I might even do a specific breakdown for
I missed that one. I heard a lot of the people didn't really rate that fight too highly. So but yeah.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. So yeah, we shall see. Most definitely. So thanks very much for your time, Senor. We've got some more fun coming up soon.
When is the next fight card coming up? So we had that. So we've got that. What's the next fight card coming up? We've got Keita versus Allen. That's someone from the UK can go with
exactly.
Put their name in the picture in that picture for a title shot early next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the UFC is coming to March early next year. Coming to the UK in a stadium early next year. So if Allen goes in, makes a big statement, he could put his name in the hat for a big featherweight title fight in that stadium show. So never know.
The future's looking bright. The future's looking orange, as the old advertisement used to say.
Showing your age there, bro. Orange.
No such thing. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, and do give us your thoughts on what your scores were for the old UFC 280.